Unable to save him without risking their own lives, his Sherpa guides leave him for dead.
My fascination with Everest began in the 1980s. I became so obsessed with climbing that I just kept going as far with it as I could.
Okay, Georgie, let's go, mate.
It's close to midnight, and Lincoln prepares to leave the pre-summit camp with his Sherpa guides. In front of them lie 1,800 vertical feet and an arduous 9-hour high-altitude climb.
I had a feeling that I was attempting the impossible.
Lincoln and I had been friends for many years. She was one of the best climbers in Australia and a great friend.
Lincoln's left camp, Mike. Over.
We were expecting to hear, hopefully, good news.
Lincoln is now climbing in what's known as the death zone. As dawn breaks, he reaches what's known to climbers as the second step, the biggest obstacle between Lincoln and his dream.
It was just all that joy of the technical part of climbing combined with the world's greatest mountain.
Lincoln has made it to the summit of Everest. He's on top of the world.
I was just walking past the communication tent when I heard his voice.
Lincoln, it's Mike, over.
I can't believe we're here.
It was fantastic because Lincoln deserved it more than anybody.
Finally.
He was perfectly calm. It sounded as though he was ringing from the office.
Thanks, guys.
Reaching the summit isn't being a good mountaineer, it's coming back home every time.
Lincoln knows they must descend immediately from the death zone, as no one can survive at this altitude for long.
The death zone has earned its name because it's at a height where your body is literally dying. Suddenly, I just felt exhausted. Then I became overwhelmed with lethargy. And I passed out in the snow.
Okay.
To base camp.
You reach
Dorsha, this is Mike from base camp, over.
Lincoln is down.
He's barely breathing.
At base camp, Lincoln's friend Mike Dillon knows this is desperate news. Lincoln is suffering from severe altitude sickness, or cerebral edema. Close to the summit of Mount Everest, it's impossible to bring Lincoln down.
No one has the physical strength to carry anyone down from that height.
Lincoln.
Helicopters can rescue you from ships from being lost in the bush. You can be rescued from the water, but you can't be rescued from the summit of Mount Everest.
Over decades, more than 200 people have been left for dead near the summit of Everest.
Suddenly, I was back
Lincoln. Listen,
in a sort of, I wouldn't say lucid state,
breathe.
but I actually realised where I was. I was on Mount Everest. I would tell my legs to move and they wouldn't. And I'd force them to move and I'd take the other leg and do the same thing. It was my mind that was driving me forward.
Somehow, Lincoln manages to make it back to the second step. But this means rappelling down a sheer rock face at 28,000 feet above sea level.
That's the dangerous place. It's a make or break it point, and often it's a place where people die.
And Lincoln's mental state is getting worse.
I was in a trance. I was just incredibly confused.
Another Sherpa is at the second step.
And I wondered what he was doing there.
A climber that he was guiding to the summit has died just below them. Already confused, the news pushes Lincoln over the edge.
It was such a shock that I fell to pieces. It was me battling the Sherpas. I was really on the very edge. It's an 11,000 foot drop. That's where I wanted to jump. I was trying to jump off the face. I had gone delirious.